Alright, guys, girls, we're back. Sorry about that small hiccup getting into the game. What's a hiccup? Specifically that. I want to give a big $10 shout out to Sick Matron. Says, thanks for your hard work. Well, thank you, sir, for your dedication and donation. But we're going to kick off this series. Spawning the top left corner of the map. It's game number 2. He's down one at the moment. It's the red Terran, YoDa Prime.
The bottom right as the green Terran. It's my Insanity's Jjakji.
And kind of think about the whole Transformers thing, where like the Primes are like this line of Transformers that like are the leaders of the Autobots, and YoDa's like one of the many in line. You know, it's Optimus, then YoDa, then I don't know, everyone else. I get so just when it comes to good Terran players, I get particularly nerdy and particularly happy because it's not just Terran in general that I think is entertaining. Like we talk about TVT being a good matchup, but it's moments like what we saw in that last game where like YoDa was screwed from that drop beyond a question of a doubt. But he didn't try the silly moves. He went for his only option, his best bet for an all-in. It still didn't work for him, but he made the right moves, and it's always fun to watch that happen, even if it doesn't sadly work out for your favorite player.
Yeah. I mean, everyone always... I remember when... Who was it? Oh, it was like Clutcher. Yeah, whoever was hosting was like, oh, this TVT, like it's going to be a day at TVT, so it's to be really, really long. And QXC was like, you haven't been watching TVT lately.
Yeah,
It's absolutely true. Like this, it's still the most like versatile in terms of like how long it'll go. You can't just be like, I don't know, like PvP back in the 4 gate days, you'd be like, okay, it's going to be a really short series and a best of 3, guaranteed. Nowadays, TVT, it's like, well, it could be really short, it could be really long, it'd be perfectly medium. 1 short game, 1 long game, and 1 medium game.
Yeah, I really do kind of miss the days sometimes where you have like Hero Marine versus other European Terran, and it's like Marine Tank versus Marine Tank going on minute 30 of the game. But, well, this is about as mirrored as it gets.
A little bit. You know, Joshy's reactor is like 15 seconds faster.
Wow, you counted that, huh? Or did you just math it?
I just guessed. Was I right?
I have no idea. I'm not doing the math.
Oh.
Factory does come down both for players again.
I was right! Wow! 32 to 47 right now.
Nice. But I mean, like, this is what I'm talking about, like, when it comes to the matchup. It might be a similar opening. It might be the same builds. But so much of this comes down to, like, control, precision. I mean, it's so silly to write it off like that, but actually, I'm wondering, did YoDa... Okay, he actually got far enough in the SCV to confirm that that was the base. I wasn't sure if maybe he thought the Reaper was actually at home, or maybe he had just been scouting himself, but both players know where they spawned.
Good. That is step 1 to a good Starcraft game.
Well, not if you're, was it Baby Knight or MC, right? There's that Whirlwind game back in the day. There's another instance of it too, I think on Frost, but I think both times with Baby Knight where 4-player maps were scouted fully and nobody was revealed.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I think I remember that game. I think it was a game versus Adrian. Well, anyways. Those were always funny. I thought you were going to talk about like games like Select where he guessed where his opponent was and it's like completely wrong. And I was like, well, it's good games, Rifkin.
Yeah, Select has had instances where Foxtrot Labs comes to mind versus Scarlet for the IEM qualifiers.
Exactly.
Sad to see, like, speaking of that guy, I wish we'd see him more. He was always a fun guy to cast. His personality carried him through.
On Twitter recently, so he's not dead. Confirmed.
Nice.
Yeah. It's always nice to hear.
Yeah, it's a lot of players that have kind of gone out of the spotlight I do miss. Golden going to Korea doing the army stuff is a really big heartbreak for me. And oh well, I'll get nostalgic about it later. This Reaper is not going to get too much of a scout off. Joshy's positioned a lot of the Marines to see this coming. Oh, trying to hide him. Oh, that's so cool. But I mean,
that's cool.
You see the starport without a reactor or a factory, or sorry, tech lab. 3rd time's the charm. You have to know it's coming.
Yeah. He scans ahead, wants to know what YoDa has to defend.
Doesn't see the 3rd CC though.
Okay, well, you will see it with the drop. He's gonna try, I think, because, well, he didn't see any units, actually. That's always a little bit bold. But you know what he did see is that there was no Banshee. The tech lab was not on the starport. And in that case, I feel like, you know, it's easier to do damage without a Banshee. The Banshee is almost guaranteed not to die unless there's like some, you know, good, really super good micro from the Marines. And as long as you have the medevac and there's no Viking, you're always able to get up and away from like their own Hellions and Marines. Widowmine does drop here. I mean, the Hellions are already here though. I don't know that much damage.
It's a shame he didn't get off on the Hellion. That would have been a big boon for this. Because, of course, to the Viking here, there's a big clock on him getting out of the base, and he's barely going to boost away.
You know, if he had scanned that Viking, I
was-
really don't think that was sick.
Yeah.
I really don't think he would have gone for that drop. I mean, with the Viking in position, as it were, yeah. It's too bad. I guess the scan didn't see that. He does get away. I don't know how. I really don't think he should have, but gets away with the medevac and a couple Marines. YoDa going for a mech. What's all about the mech today?
I don't think this is a horrible choice, but I've definitely, even prior to like his recent hot streak, I've seen Jjakji conquer mech no problem. In fact, I've seen him use his own mech no problem as well. He's playing bio, of course, this game, but I'm just saying this is not a scenario where I think he's going to be sideswiped by a tech path. It's not like mech is unfamiliar to him. So for YoDa's sake, you better hope he's got something in store, because if he's just hoping that mech will, you know, out Hellion Jjakji, it's not going to work.
He might. I mean, there's always a small chance that you can surprise your opponent when you go mech. You're never really banking on it, like, oh god, I hope he doesn't scout me going mech. These are never going to happen with scans and drops as they are in TVT. But there is a chance that they'll just assume you're going to go for Marine Tank, and they're only going to get Marine Tank, and then you come forward with 8 Hellions, and you demolish the Marine line. Small chance, but always there.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Blue Flame, you don't even need as many shots either, which is kind of a big deal. So Marines don't, you know, that 1 second they're not spread is a lot more deadly. But all right, we'll see just which way this decides to go for YoDa. I mean, when you do go for mech, you're pretty much generally gonna have Hellions and Vikings for the most part. So you go to siege things a little bit later. We don't quite have that crazy Viking count out just yet, but again, air dominance tends to be in the favor of the player who goes mech.
Scan goes down for YoDa. I guess he wasn't sure if third was down. Yeah, it looks like they were scouted.
I mean, they're both on similar SCV counts. YoDa may have had the command center earlier, but it's not like he's had a big benefit from it. I do like that he prioritized this, though, to get those gases. When you play mech, tanks, Ravens, Vikings, all very expensive gas units.
Yeah. Jjakji, like, I think you confirmed just by the sheer amount of Hellions that YoDa has that it is in fact mech, so he's a lot of Marauders on the way. A lot of upgrades as well. They're not all quite done. So the Hellions, I mean, they could run into the third. I don't think that's really going to be worth it with the tank sieged up right there. Or unsieged. Oh, no. Well, now it might be worth it. There's a little bit of a weird... It's not a wall. It's like a pattern off to the right of supply depots. What would call it?
You know, I just had one of those moments where you're like, I am a naive Starcraft 2 player. In however many years I've done this, and I play mech all the time, for those who don't know, as horrible as they may be, I never really noticed that Hellions get the little blue flame, like, as the tip of the burner, so to speak, until just now.
I don't understand.
Like a visual representation of it being blue flame.
That it's actually blue?
No, but like you see when they're not attacking, like I've just never noticed that the little burner on top turns blue. I don't know.
Oh.
Usually at that point of the game, you're busy doing run-bys. You're not staring at your own Hellions, right? Speaking of which, 2 blue flame Hellbats do get into the natural. The SCVs were pulled, and not a lot's going to die from this, but without medevac gone, they have to be taken care of.
Maybe full specking a little too soon. I don't know.
Yeah. Stacking up the SCVs.
I like that.
Barely doesn't get a devastating shot off. Oh my god.
YoDa was producing a medevacs around this, though. The scan, I don't think you should drop there, Jjakji. Yeah, he's like, nope. But with YoDa having his own medevacs and Hellbat drops being just really good on top of the army, Jjakji can't really break YoDa. He could try. Maybe he'd trade out really well. But doesn't. Well, maybe he will. I don't know. A point defension is going to make the Marauders a lot less effective.
Yeah,
but the Marauders,
effective or not, they're necessary when it comes to the fight. Big shots going off. The point defenders actually get focused by the Marines. That was kind of a cool move out of Jjakji to start that, but he's going to just pick up and drop directly on top of the tanks. There's too many Hellions to do this. Turns around immediately. Nope. Loses one of the medevacs. And while this attack is not over, it's definitely stopped on the front lines.
Yeah. So, you see where it's kind of like, you know, should he really try and attack into that? No, maybe not. He tried. It wasn't so bad. Like, I think, you know, with how slow mech is going across the map, he'll be able to just barely be able to defend, but it wasn't the greatest.
Drags the Hellbats on top of the bio. That works out so good at just thinning that out. The Marauders barely get out of that alive. Marines all died, of course, immediately. That blue flame versus light. But that's why you go Marauders. They can take the hits. It's not about dealing the damage so much as it is that they can stay alive and fight.
Jjakji has to make sure that these tanks are going to get a really great position. A couple tanks of his own will hold the line. His production's starting to get up there, and his upgrade's starting to get up there as well. 2-2 on the way. But YoDa is in a very comfy position. He's on 4 bases. He doesn't have to worry about drops.
It is a bit of an awkward standoff, though. For Jjakji's sake, if he charges forward with this, it's very easy for YoDa to just drag those medevacs and again do that same move with the Blue Flame Hellbats. But at the same time, if Jjakji's sieged up, he's not going to let him do that. So it's the push out of YoDa. Jjakji has got to turn around. He scanned fully and entirely, though, revealing this. Coming to Simon from the north side. We'll see if he's able to pick off enough of these tanks. The bio's not quite spread enough. He's going to stim forward, but those Blue Flame Helmets come into play. Can the tanks from Jjakji hold? Because YoDa's going to have so many more.
I think all of Jjakji's tanks were not focus firing YoDa's tanks, which probably would have been better than those Hellbats they were attacking.
And that's the problem. Hellbats light units with a lot of health. They can take tank shots. But if he can get that bio spread out enough, I mean, if the Hellbats go down, the tanks fall pretty quickly to Marauders and Marines, but it's just not enough. And I think YoDa has clinched this game, ties it up 1-1, and sends us to the ace match. You know, out of every group we've cast, for not just this tournament,